Hello and welcome to a special episode of Check Your Back Seat. We're trying something a little different here. We're doing a little mini episode that is going to talk all about one particular thing, and that thing is Netflix's Making a Murderer. We both watched this show. We both watched it probably faster than we should have. We both didn't have lives for a few days. And now it's done. You guys, if you haven't watched it, you should either just not listen. Well, if you haven't watched it and you're not going to watch it, but you want to hear about it, you can listen to this. Otherwise, go watch it, come back, or just delete this episode and don't worry about it. But, yeah, we're going to be spoiling it. We're going to be getting to our feelings on it. So, let's begin that right now. Matt, what did you think of Making a Murderer?
This is like the most depressing thing I've ever watched on TV. It was the first night I watched it, just trying to put me to sleep, and I was up all night watching it. I was binge eating, and
you didn't just binge watch it. You binged ate and binge watched.
I ate a large stuffed crust pizza and drank a 2-liter Coke and had a Caesar salad. So I was freaking eating a lot. You're not going to feel happy watching this, but everyone should watch it just to, get the impression that not everyone is... I was always looking at it that I was the jury, right? I was trying to keep impartial, even though this Making a Murderer is from the view of Steve Avery. I was, trying to think of the defensive side, trying to think of the offensive side, trying to keep it, but it is so hard.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Even the fact that this thing is made is mind blowing. I think that they started recording in 2005. I read. So can you imagine? They put 10 years of their life into this. The filmmakers, they didn't know they had a Netflix deal coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
They got. I think it was something like 700 hours of original footage, 100 hours of acquired footage, hundreds of hours, and editing it all into this. 10 hours sounds like a big TV show, but it was mind-boggling. I stuck with it. It was, you really, there was no episodes that you didn't really want to watch. I guess there's a couple. I thought it was maybe a couple episodes long. You could have maybe cut away here and there and been left with 8 episodes.
Yeah,
I think I read that that's originally what they had or wanted.
I think after 8 episodes, I was sort of oh, this is I know what happened to Steve Avery, but it was just trying to see about his nephew though too, right? The last 2 episodes are more focused on him and not Steve Avery.
Yeah, well,
so I think that's why maybe you have the idea that it should have been 2 episodes, but I don't know. It was. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I know. It was so good, and it was crazy. But who cares? The technical stuff, that's cool. But I think the stuff everyone's talking about is the content of this show. And I don't even know how many times they're fuck, oh shit, what the fuck? You're sad, yeah. You're enraged, kind of it's to me, you said you were sad, but to me what stands out is how I don't even know what the word, mind-boggling. Crazy, I don't know what words describe how incompetent some of these people were at their jobs and just in general.
Yeah,
and how the stuff they were saying, you could just get away with saying all the shit they're saying.
Yeah, I know both of us have been educated and have university degrees or whatever, but you don't need a university degree to and these people are even smarter than people that have university degrees, right? They're lawyers or scientists, and how do you believe the words you're saying come out of your mouth, especially with the scientific testing? A lot of the scientific testing was just bullshit, know? It was invalid, but it is sort of valid, and I put my work behind it. These people have no. They can basically say whatever they want in the justice system, and they're not really taking a hit for it at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That person that's doing the swabs with the blood on the bullet, if if this documentary wasn't made, she probably wouldn't have got any backlash at all. She would have looked like a hero.
Yeah, well, like everyone got away with this basically. Like,
Yeah.
and like the cops, like during the original murder, like while he's Stephen Avery's in jail for the first time, and they get this detective calls the Manitowoc Police Department, and they're like, "Hey, we captured a serial rapist, and he said that there's a guy serving time in your jail that didn't actually do something. It was him that did it. We just, we thought you'd let you know." The cop's like, "Oh yeah, cool, thanks," and
Oh my god!
doesn't do anything about it. Like what?
8 years. Like I can't even,
Dude.
I can't even think of like 18 years in my head. Like I can barely remember things that are 18 years, and this guy served that when he was 23. Like that is nuts.
I can't imagine 1 year being stuck in jail for shit I didn't do. Like,
Yeah.
and to not admit that you did it, and like to just like be like, fuck, like if I don't say that I did this, even though I didn't, like I'm never getting out of here. Like, because he wouldn't have got out of there if the DNA stuff didn't come out and be like, hey, yeah, he actually didn't do this.
Yeah.
And like even at the start, like how incompetent, like the drawing, like the guy who drew the picture of his face, like, oh yeah, no, it's a spitting image of the picture beside it. Like, yeah, I drew this straight from the description of from the girl.
And he's like 16 years old.
Yeah.
In the picture, and he's still in the drawing. Like science failed him so much, and yeah, and especially with like Brennan's trial, when like his lawyers are basically fighting against him, and then the one
guy,
the one guy was like, they said that there were a bunch of inbreds and that I should chop down the family tree by sending him to jail. Like, if you're saying that in a courtroom,
he's like, oh yeah,
how are they not like you're basically saying you're fabricating everything because you think that they shouldn't live. Like how is he not acquitted right then and there?
Like, and the media, like, what the fuck? Like, you could see in the media interviews after like all these like during every trial, like afterwards, like you think like they're all kind of, what the fuck is going on? Almost like you can see it in their faces. They're like, is this really happening?
Yeah, and like I really get, or the one thing I like that was so stupid is when one lawyer's describing how she was killed, and like, why are you describing that before the trial? Shouldn't it be talked about at the trial? Not because basically they're fabricating it so their jury is, everyone's heard it and has made their decision before they even shown up. Like it was just not good. And you know what? Like, me thinking, I don't know if there was significant evidence to say that Steve Avery didn't do it, but there wasn't a significant evidence that he did it, but there wasn't significant evidence to say that he didn't. And I think they took the easy way out and threw him in jail. Wow. And like, he had a target on his back too. So like, everyone would have probably tried to set him up for that too. Like, not just necessarily the police, but family or people that want media attention too. Like, I bet you if 10 years down the road, someone's going to be like, yeah, I murdered her.
Yeah, well, like, because I think, like, you have to be proved beyond reasonable doubt that you're guilty. Like, you don't have to be guilty. It just has to be beyond reasonable doubt. And, like, we can jump into that in a second about, like, obviously what we think about him being guilty. But, yeah, there's reasonable doubt, I think. And, like, even for Avery, but, like, for Brendan, like, he got so railroaded. Like, it blows my mind, too. Like, all these cops are like they're kind of changing the words. Like, oh yeah, I said this, but I kind of didn't mean that. Blah 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 on the stand. But then Brendan is literally there. The only reason he's there is because of that 3-hour interrogation marathon where he said, "Oh yeah, I did this, this, and this." And like, no matter how many times he tries to take back that 10 minutes of what he said, he can't do it. So like he said something for 10 minutes. Like, there's no evidence to support this. Like,
yeah,
he's like, oh yeah, we slit her throat. Like, there'd be blood everywhere. There was no blood.
There's no physical evidence at all.
And they put him away for life. And like, oh yeah, you have a chance to get out in 2040 something. Well, he's fucked. Like, he's gonna be in jail
Yeah.
for 6. Oh my god.
No, yeah, I feel so bad. Like that, like Stephen Avery. I don't know. He could have done it there, but like,
I don't think, like,
beyond a doubt that Brennan did it.
and like, dude, if I go over to my uncle's house and like he's doing what he described Stephen Avery to be doing, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like,
yeah,
he could kill me.
I don't know.
Like, he's not just gonna let me run away. Like,
yeah,
and dude, that's the other thing with Brett. Like, when they had him with, I don't know, one of the cop guys or whatever, he's sitting at the desk and he's trying to get the confession out of him again. Like, he's like writing a statement and he gets him to draw the pictures. And he's like, oh no, why don't you draw these pictures now? Like, draw the scene of the crime.
yeah.
And like, draw the bed. Come on, draw her tied up to the bed. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is happening? Like, I can't believe, like, this shit's real. Like, it's crazy.
I had like nightmares that night, and I was like, Michael Fassbender breaks down my door and is taking me to jail. And my nephew that I have is ratting me out. I don't have a nephew, but I dreamt that I did for that time. Like, this was such an emotional movie that it like messed my life up for a day or two. And I can't imagine being a lawyer or anyone involved in this case and not having that kind of toll on me, like multiplied by 1,000, right? Yeah. Like, it's just, I bet you there's people that just feel like crap in the world for this, and they think about it every day, and they're like, what, I've done something horrendous right now.
Yeah, well, and like, that was one of the more powerful moments too, I thought, when at the end they're talking to Dean Strang, like the defense lawyer or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I hope he did do it. And like he was kind of like, throughout the whole show, he's kind of the like strong, like smart guy, and like you just see him, he's like, because if he didn't, like, it's just too much. Like, if they didn't do this, and there's like that one just kicked me right in the nuts. Like, I was just like, oh fuck.
No, yeah, like, I don't know. It's just, it's so bad. It is just like the worst thing that could happen. And another thing we should touch on too is the girl that got murdered's family. Like, in the beginning, he was really, they were out for blood, and like, I guess you would be in that situation, right? Because your loved one got murdered, but like, he's talking about, he's like, oh, we have a confession tape, so I think you should just be thrown in jail. And they're like, have you watched the confession tape? And they're like, no. It's like, well, why are you commenting on the confession tape when you haven't even watched the tape, right? Because anyone in their right mind can see that he's being prodded the whole entire time. And a lot of people argue, well, you're only watching 5 minutes of the whole tape, but give me the 3-hour one and I'll watch it. And, you know, like, it's just, there's so much hate, and I get there should be hate because someone died, but the hate was used to manufacture lies.
And it's like, and this is a larger discussion, but it's like, you know, so Stephen A., like, this family's getting back, like, they lose their daughter, like, it sucks, and like, that ripples through your family, that ripples through your friends, that ripples through the community. But then, like, we're in a system where not only, like, that's not enough, like, now we have to go ruin another family. Like, it's just set up that, like, that's what like, because, and sure, they're like different family, but like, you could see like the mom and dad are just screwed from this, and like, and like Stephen Avery, like, okay, like, whether he's, I don't know, like, saying whether he's guilty or not's hard. Like, I think there's reasonable doubt that he's not guilty. Like, and it's hard to come up like what his motivation would be to do this. Like, after
his life is perfect before the murder. Like, he's at home. He's going to get like $24 million from people. Like, that was bad that he's going to steal $24 million from, like, but I don't get that, why the insurance wouldn't cover them. But yeah, like, his life was perfect. Why would he, other than maybe he was affected in prison?
Yeah, well, and like, I read a bit that, I mean, obviously the show makes him look a little better than he is, and like, I guess, like, that cat fire thing at the start, they kind of brushed over it, like, he was with a bad crowd. But, like, apparently they, like, doused this cat in gasoline and lit it on fire and watched it run around screaming.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a little fucked. And, like, there's, you know, like, I think there's studies that, like, if you torture animals, you know, like, or Michael Myers and Halloween and stuff. But, and then, like, I guess he requested photos, like, he was trying to get her to come give her photos all the time. Like, he wanted her to come take pictures of the vehicle.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, that's not, like, there's so many points where, like, the blood having a hole in it, like, in the cap and the box being tampered with, like, right there, like.
Yeah, something went on.
And, like,
yeah.
And then Brendan is literally, like, he's not all there. Like, that's plain as day. Like, he's not there. Like, he's learning challenge or whatever.
Too.
Like,
yeah.
Like, he's slow. Like, every conversation you see, like, you can just tell he doesn't really know what's going on. Like, even in that confession where after he's like, so am I going to be able to get to school by, like, 4 or whatever? And like, well, you might have to be here a while. Why? He's like, well, I have a project I have to hand in. And, like, that just showed, like, he has no fucking clue what's going on. And, like, like, for him, like, for me, like, there's no way he deserves to be in jail his whole life. Like, I don't care, even if he did the thing, like, the old guy when he was talking, like, when they're, like, the prosecutor or whatever near the end where he's like, he's succumbed to his sexual flames of desire. Like, that was his actual, like, concluding speech in the courtroom. I'm like, this shit happens? Like, this is real life? Like, this is more crazy than any courtroom drama I've ever seen. Like, it's just...
Yeah. No, I think they did fail him for sure. Like, Stephen Avery can be debated, like, but I know for a fact that Brennan shouldn't be in jail. And I guess I'm ignorant for saying that too, because I haven't, like, seen other stuff, like any other stuff other than this.
Yeah, and, like, we see, like, everyone's kind of like, oh, is he guilty or is he innocent, blah, 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 blah. But, like, I think the lesson kind of here, for me at least, is, like, you have to be open-minded. Like, the reason a lot of this falls apart is, in the legal system, is the judges, like, no one can ever admit they're wrong. No one wants to be wrong. Everything's black and white, and, like, everyone assumes they know everything about everything. And, like, if people were just, like, a little more, like, empathetic, a little more, like, balanced and, like, willing to, like, okay, like, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but hey, maybe there's another side. Like, didn't just close things out and be so...
But that's what happened, though. That's what happened in this one, was the defense favored the prosecution.
Yeah, well, but, like, that's what yeah, but it's like, if we didn't just, like, label someone as, like, oh, you're guilty. Yeah. Like, if we were like, okay, maybe he is guilty. Like, you just have to be open-minded and be like,
no, innocent till proven guilty, right?
Yeah.
And also in Brennan's case, like, I get that he's 16 or whatever, but he should still be considered a minor. Like, even, like, say that he did it and there was with a reasonable doubt that, or they knew that he did it. He shouldn't, I don't know. That's even a
like I said, I don't care if if everything he described was truth. If I'm 16 and I walk into that situation, I'd be scared for my life.
Yeah.
And, like,
I wouldn't know what I'd do in that situation. I would never want to be put in that situation.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, no one would. So, like, you can't put someone in jail for the rest of his life because he gets put in an impossible situation. Like, I mean, and, like, you know, you can say all you want. Oh, yeah, I would have attacked him, or I would have ran away and called the cops, which wouldn't have done anyone any good, probably. Like, but, you know, like, you don't know what you're going to do. Like, that's a hard situation. And how you act in that 10 minutes or whatever, that shouldn't determine the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know.
Oh, shooter, Gavin. But yeah, no, it was good. And hopefully we don't see any more Netflix series like this, but I have a feeling we probably will.
And, like, it is interesting. Like, if you haven't, season 1 of Serial, it's a podcast, It's kind of a similar to this, and HBO's The Jinx, if you're into this sort of thing, is also really well done. You can check that out. This is something that, like, I wouldn't have watched this if we weren't going to talk about it, probably. Like, I heard it was good and all that, but, like, it's 10 hours, and at the end of the day, all we got out of it, and even this episode, a lot of it's just, we bitch about stuff, and, like, bitching about stuff doesn't do anything any good. And, like, I think there's, like, someone tried to start a little petition thing to, like, get his trial redid or some shit, and the government's like, fuck that, it's not happening. But it's so hard, like, I mean... And people are just going to probably forget about this in 2 months, too. And, like, I'm just as guilty of it. But, like, I don't know. It's just...
I'm going to think about it for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that I hope that comes out of this, because obviously there's not a clear-cut, or there's not really a clear-cut ending, and it's still, the ending's still portraying. But I hope that people get out of this is when people get thrown into courts, or they're a lot less one-sided. Like, you got to be free-minded, and you need to look at the evidence.
Yeah,
like, someone can say, oh, he went and raped the shit out of this girl, and he stabbed her and he killed her. But if there's no evidence to suggest that he did, you shouldn't be out for a witch hunt. You should be critical and think of what happened. Like, that's proven, right?
Yeah, and this...
there are going to be situations where we don't send the guy to jail that actually did it, and there are going to be instances that we send the guys away for jail for the rest of their life and they didn't do it too. But, like, and even I have this conversation with people all the time about the death penalty. And, like, yeah, we should kill them. Just kill them. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to live in a society where we kill people. You know, I don't know.
Well, you have to, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, you have to reevaluate sort of what you want and realize that. So, like, if we want to get rid of murderers, or say, like, I know it's kind of a silly thing to say, but, like, we have to recognize that the way we have it, we're never going to get rid of that stuff. Like, we have to accept that people are going to get murdered, people are going to get raped, because we don't do proactive, we react to it, right? And so what happens, like, the worst case kind of thing that can happen in our current system is, okay, we miss some. Right? And, like, okay, we get some locked away that shouldn't be, but, like, so you miss some. If you switch systems and you go, okay, you're born and you're a child, like, you're a child molester, you're a killer, and you just kill them, like, so it's like, now the worst case becomes you killed an innocent man. So I guess, like, the same thing could happen, is that where when the innocent person gets killed, then you still have someone killing people, but, like, you don't. I don't know. Like, it's easy to say, like, if I was a killer and they killed killers, well, I might not kill, but, like, I think we had the death penalty. Like, it proves that, like, this is a mental thing. Like, this is the way people think. They don't like I'm not a huge psych expert, but it's like.
Like, I don't know, like, you can spout every quote that's ever made, like, an eye for an eye makes a person blind. If you kill a killer, there's still a killer. But, like, there's a person, right? And, like, I'm not trying to justify what they did. They did it. They might have mental problems or whatever. But if you take it down to the bare bones, if you just kill a person because it's like, oh, you're a mangy dog.
Yeah.
I'd never want to be in that situation, kill someone, and I'd never want anyone to ever ask me. I'd never want to be a part of that.
Yeah, well, especially in this day and age, like, tech's advancing so much, like, we have to be able to figure out how to, like, correct this, and, like, it's weird because, like, I used to be, like, so, like, oh, yeah, just go send them to prison, whatever, but, like, that doesn't do anything, and, like, the fact that we live in a world where, like, people think that, like, throw them in jail, like, kill them, like, that's going to solve anything. Like, it doesn't, like, and I don't care really what you did. So, and, like, this is kind of a bigger philosophical discussion, but, like, say someone killed 5 people, but then in 2 years we had some sort of treatment and it was guaranteed that they weren't a risk to society anymore. What should happen to them? Right? Like, should you be serving the rest of your life? Or now that you're actually better, and we know you're better, should you be allowed to go? And I think that question would reveal, like, kind of a lot to like how we should treat stuff.
Yeah.
But like
And-
it's a huge can of worms.
Like, I guess, I don't know. Like, I get the whole forgiveness thing, and I guess I've never had anyone taken away from me, but like, yeah, I just think going after revenge would be a dirty, dirty hole that
Like,
I don't think I'd
poisons
ever get out of.
everything, right?
Yeah. And like, you lose a part of your, like, either way, like, I guess let's Nash equilibrium type thing. You're getting someone taken away, so you're taken away, but do you want to lose more of yourself by following down that hole? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't talk though, but it's just, yeah.
It's just
so
crazy that like this kid gets put away for the rest of his life because literally for 10 minutes of talking, like he told a story. And like the fact that they couldn't even believe that, like, oh, the only reason he would know this stuff is because he did it. Dude, the fucking internet is a thing.
Yeah.
You could. He's like, oh, I read a book. Like, oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good.
Man,
and like I'm glad we don't live in a place where that, like, it can happen here. Actually, I shouldn't say that, but it's not high profile. Like,
fuck, like, that's all for this episode. Until next time, don't piss off a sheriff because they can put you away for life. Like,
yeah.
Fuck.
And like, it's just like they have in America, they have these checks, right? They have the FBI, the CIA. They have like all these, like, there's so many like police officers or different like departments that are supposed to watch each other to make sure they're not corrupt, that I'm surprised that when these county sheriffs weren't like deported when the second murder happened. Like, yeah, you guys take a month off and go to Hawaii or something, you know? Like,
they're like, oh yeah, we're not going to get involved in the investigation of this case. Like, and like they have a press conference to tell you that the county's not going to get involved, and then literally every step of the way from there on out, they're doing shit. Like,
yeah,
they're there for the vehicle getting found. Like, they're on the phone for all the, like, they find the key in the house. Like, it's just crazy. It is. Oh, it's so crazy. It's just insane.
Mm-hmm. It's a messed up world, and like, it just gives you lose like so much. Like, I need to go like volunteer at an orphanage or something to like get my life back in track or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so depressing, and like, it makes you look at the world and be like, shit.
Yeah. Oh wow. And dude, like I said, I feel hopefully this episode was entertaining or something. I don't know. It's just like,
I told my mom, I was like, you should watch this show, and she's like, what it's about? And I explained it to her, and she's like, Matt, why would you ever want to watch a show like that?
But yeah, and like but I think it's important to know that, like, you know, this stuff happens. Like, we have a system that does this to people, and like, yeah, it fucks up the other way too. Like letting other innocent people go. But we saw that too. Like, for 18 years, the guy who was in jail that shouldn't have been, the guy who committed the rape, is out raping people.
Yeah.
And
well, like, yeah, sorry.
Oh no, that's
well, like, and it's happening here too. Like, I know our local detachment got caught doing some shady stuff too.
Well, and like,
it wasn't as bad as like what they did in this Making a Murderer, but it reminded me about it.
And we have to stop too. And like, it still happens, I'm sure, everyone. But like, this notion that cops are, and like, we're seeing on the internet that cops are kind of shitty too, but like, we treat them like they're God, kind of, like that they do no wrong. Like, anytime you say, hey, this group of people does no wrong, like, I think that's kind of ignorant. Like, we're all people, like, we all have flaws, like, our brains all work differently. Like, no group of people is perfect. Like, we all have people that are gonna do stuff where, like, stuff's gonna motivate us differently. And like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I don't know what's happening in these guys' life that they made the decisions that they made. And like, it's easy for me to judge them. And like, you know, and that's the thing is, you know, a month from now, it could come out that there was some billionaire mastermind that called all the cops and said, hey, if you don't frame this Stephen Avery guy, I'm going to rape and murder everyone in your family. And if anyone finds out that I called you about this, I'm going to do the same thing. Like, I mean, it's all evident. Like, you know, we don't see the whole picture. And like I think if everyone's always conscious that, okay, this might not be the whole picture, and like we empathize with other people, like
that's what
we wouldn't have shit like this happen.
You hit the nail on the head there, Karson.
All right, I don't have much left. We could probably rant for hours and hours. I'm sure everyone listening to this has probably ranted for hours and hours. So, should we put this little mini big episode in the ground?
I guess so.
All right.
Yeah.
You have anything you left?
I could talk forever on this, and I'm sure you could too.
Yeah.
And I hope our listeners maybe reach out and talk to us a little bit about what they think about it, and if they can find anything positive in this, because it is hard for.
But yeah, I think it's weird. Like I left this show feeling like outraged and like, yeah, fuck, this is crazy. And like this show left you like, I'm gonna eat my life away.
Yeah, like I just want to like cuddle with my dog all day, like for 3 weeks or something. Like it was like depression mixed with exhaustion because I didn't sleep and I ate a lot. And then fucked.
Yeah, dude, your Snapchat, you Snapchat Chewy, and you're like, this is our life now. It's like I laughed so hard. All right, let's put it in the ground.